Hello and welcome. You're watching Newsx and I'm Megha Sharma. In a jointly signed open letter, 272 retired judges, civil servants, diplomats and armed forces officers have expressed concern over the recent statements by Congress leader Rahul Gandhi regarding the Election Commission of India. The letter, titled Assault on National Constitutional Authorities, states that the repeated allegations of large-scale vote theft and claims of collusion between the Election Commission of India and the ruling party risk undermining public confidence in a key constitutional body. The signatories noted that while Rahul Gandhi and other Congress leaders have described possessing substantial evidence of the irregularities, particularly related to the special intensive revision of the electoral rolls in certain states, no formal complaint, affidavit or legal petition has been filed with the Election Commission or the courts to date. The group includes 16 former judges, 123 retired civil servants, 14 ex-ambassadors and 133 armed forces veterans. They praised the Election Commission's historical role in conducting free and fair elections and recalled the contributions of former chief election commissioners such as T.N. Session and N. Gopalaswamy in strengthening the institution. Remember, after the leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi's repeated claims, the Election Commission termed the allegations baseless and invited the Congress party to provide specific details of any fraudulent entries for verification and corrective action. Let's start our conversation with one of the signatories of the open letter that has been written by the eminent personalities of our country. I am being joined by Ambassador Baswati Mukherji. Ambassador Mukherji, while this case is sub judice in court, the last hearing took place on 11th of November. The next one has been scheduled for 26th of this month. There has been strong observations that have been made by the Chief Justice of India designate as well. He has interrogated the petitioners. He has spoken about how this is a normal exercise of revision of the electoral rolls. The electoral rolls have always been existent. There may be certain changes and modifications if there are some disparities, but the entire exercise cannot be brushed off as a malified exercise being conducted in collusion with the ruling party. How do you think this is going to impact the forthcoming elections taking place in Tamil Nadu and West Bengal and other parts of the country?
Thank you very much, Megha, for having me on your show. Let me clarify that I signed that letter because I was very concerned that these completely unjustified attacks on our constitutional systems and institutions were actually damaging India's image abroad as a vibrant democracy which conducts free and fair elections, and where actually in my career, particularly in the UN, the Election Commission used to be held up as a model for even developed countries to follow. And you mentioned Mr. T.N. Session. He was an absolute terror in the manner in which he impartially held up the mandate of the Election Commission. Therefore, I do believe that if there are unjustified attacks which are not substantiated by evidence, then what happens is that you have a situation where India is facing grave external threats, which I don't have to waste your time and my co-panelists. And at the same time, people from within India, and that has been a problem from before independence, people from within India, including the leader of the opposition, is undermining democratic institutions which are held in great respect outside India, not providing evidence, and therefore damaging the India's profile abroad. The other issue, which is very disturbing, is that such issues are always brought up when the vote goes in favor of a particular party. But when the vote goes in favor of the party to which the leader of the opposition belongs to, then there is no further conversation about the Election Commission, about EVMs, etc. I recall having worked almost my entire working career with the Congress party and with great Congress leaders, that in those days there was an ethos among political parties that they would not damage India's image abroad, that they would work internally to sort out their differences, and that if there is an election, it goes one way or the other. Like when Mrs. Gandhi lost because of the emergency, and she came roaring back later. That's part of the democratic process. So I don't see any impact of what has been said by the LOP on elections in West Bengal. I belong to West Bengal, by the way, being actually coming from East Bengal, which is now Bangladesh and which is in great strife. It's not going to impact elections. What impacts elections is what? In Bihar, what impacted elections, in my perspective? Prohibition. Women liked that. No return to Jungle Raj. Vikas, development. These are bread and butter issues for an Indian electorate that has got used to a democratic model. If you want to win elections, in my perspective, you have to give them what they think they can get. The aspirational Indian voter wants that. He is not concerned. Otherwise, why should the LOP, who was so active, why should his party have sunk to an all-time low? Maybe he'll bounce back in another state where he will talk about Vikas, he will talk about what the voters want, and he will say that this is what we are going to give you if we get elected. Certainly, in all the states that I know, including West Bengal, that's all that counts. It counted in Bihar. That is why I signed the letter. The letter has signatories from across the civil service, lieutenant generals, vice admirals, judges, etc. It shows that there is a deep disquiet about the manner in which political discourse is being conducted in today's democratic India, as if India can survive in this manner while facing so many external threats. It's a call to all politicians to say, please be united. The country is facing huge, huge challenges. Don't undermine democratic institutions, some of which have been built up by your own parties, by the founding fathers of the Indian Constitution. India is a matter of pride that it's stable in its democratic and surrounded by dictatorships. What more does one want? If you can't win one election, you'll win it in the next one. That is the message that I have for those who ask, why did we bring out this letter? We brought out this letter to show our deep distress as committed servants who have spent our lives serving India regardless of who is in power. It didn't make any difference to us who was in power. We served India. Thank you, Megha.
Yeah, okay. Ambassador Mukherjee, a follow-up question. You know, when the special intensive exercise, the revision exercise of the electoral roll were conducted in Bihar, Congress was up in arms. There were rallies being conducted, press conferences, these hydrogen bomb, as Rahul Gandhi quoted as saying, talking about Haryana elections, Maharashtra elections. But now when elections are moving forward in other states, the DMK, we have Mamata Banerjee, TMC, they are also up in arms. They are also questioning the validity of the elections. They are also chanting the same tune as Rahul Gandhi and the Congress. Do you think this is justified? And do you think more and more political parties in the opposition are going to join the chorus? And are they fearful of BJP winning elections in their traditional bastions?
I am sure that the BJP will not win in bastions that have traditionally gone to regional parties. I'm quite sure of that, regardless of the SIR. The SIR is very important. Let's take my home state, West Bengal. There are just too many illegitimate, illegal people who have crossed across from Bangladesh. There are too many Rohingyas. They have bribed and got Aadhaar cards, etc. It is a danger for India's stability. It's a danger. It's a national danger. There's nothing to do with elections. In West Bengal today, the situation is fraught. Let me tell you, I live in Delhi. When the SIR happened, there were so many illegal Bangladeshis terrorizing people who had come from other states, including Biharis, to work here. These Bangladeshis were extremely, extremely aggressive. I should know. I come from East Bengal. I understand their dialect. I speak their language. They were chasing them away. Once the SIR exercise started, they've all run back to Bangladesh. We can't afford to have, in a country of 1.4 billion people, we can't afford to have these illegitimate, illegal people voting like an Indian voter. The country will not tolerate it. West Bengal will not tolerate it. Assam will not tolerate it. The Northeast will not tolerate it. You've got Rohingyas spread across the length and breadth of this country. If you want India to survive and to be a great power, then I would tell politicians, please put your act together. You may lose one election, you may win another election.
Yeah.
But surely India matters to all of you. So please think of India. Please think of national interest. The country trusts you all of you, regardless of your political views, to put India's national interest first. That's what your predecessors did, regardless of parties. I worked with so many of them. They never behaved like this. It is highly irresponsible behavior, in my perspective. Thank you, Megha.
Ambassador Mukherjee, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your views. I'm also right now being joined by Justice S.N. Dhingra. He's the former judge of the Delhi High Court. Justice Dhingra, thank you for being with us. And of course, my first question about whether you think this is justified that political parties, particularly the Congress and Rahul Gandhi, have come out and accused the Election Commission of vote theft.
See, I am not to justify the vote theft allegations. Only it is Congress who has to justify them. How can I justify them? My letter, our letter is, you see, asking the leader of opposition. There is no justification. And why this issue and bogey is being raised, and to defame and you see, to undermine the role of Election Commission of India.
The Supreme Court is in the process of hearing the case of the special intensive revision exercise that was conducted by the Election Commission in Bihar. That is also now taking place in the states of Tamil Nadu, it's happening in West Bengal and 12 other states where elections will take place next year. Is it in such a juncture that this case is sub judice? Is it right for political parties, political leaders to make allegations and counter allegations against the Election Commission?
You see, there are no counter allegations. One thing you must understand, we are only saying that this kind of allegations which are being made, they are totally fake and biased allegations. They are not justified. And SIR is a process which is provided in the Constitution itself, that Election Commission has to revisit the entire voter list and remove the bogus names, remove the names of those persons who are dead, those who have shifted, those who have who are casting their vote somewhere else, and their names still exist in the constituency where it earlier there. This is a process which involves addition of more names and pruning of the names of those names who are dead or who are no more there, who are not living, who have shifted. So this process is a constitutional mandate. I don't know why it is being opposed. It is helpful to everyone.
What, according to you, should the Election Commission do? Should it, what steps can it take? Must it file a formal complaint against Rahul Gandhi and the Congress for defaming it?
I don't think we need to file a formal complaint. EC can do. Election Commission can do if you see this, it can take this kind of step if it feels that it is worth filing, because cases also involve a lot of you see harassment, and this harassment in the courts is another factor which deters the people from going to court.
The Congress has, of course, doubled down on the BJP and the Election Commission after its dismal performance in the Bihar elections, blaming Election Commission for their poor performance. How does the public know for sure if there was vote theft that took place in Bihar elections that led to the victory of the BJP and the shameful performance of the Congress?
You see, this is not for me to answer. This is for them to answer that if the public had taken upon the cognizance of what they were saying, the public would not have given them vote that let them come to power and they do the right things. But public rejected the entire, you see, their allegations and their cooked up material. And public told them that you are not right, and public showed them right place.
How harmful do you think are these unfounded allegations of political leaders, public figures that end up undermining the credibility of democratic independent institutions of India?
This is very unfortunate. Let me tell you the language which is being used. You see, it not only undermines the credibility. In fact, credibility of an institution does not get undermined because one person starts abusing the institution, but the manner in which it is being done and the threats being given to the election commissioners, that is very unfortunate. You are naming them in public meetings. You are telling public that remember their names, and once we come into power, we will not spare them. It is just like, you see, if a bench of the court gives judgment against some political party, and the political party tells people, remember the name of these judges, and we are going to take upon them once we are in power. This is sheer terrorism, and I consider this language cannot be pardoned. That you use the language of terrorists and start threatening the office bearers and office holders, constitutional office holders, whether they are of election commission or of any other body.
Justice S.N. Dhingra, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your views. I'm being joined right now by Rahul Patel, who is the Congress spokesperson. Mr. Patel, you've read that open letter, is what I'm assuming. You have heard some of the signatories who have joined us in this discussion and aired their views. The big question continues to arise that if there were discrepancies, if there were voters' names that were struck, which was, and if it was unwarranted, why has there not been a single complaint that has been filed? That continues to remain the question.
Megha, thank you and good evening to you and your viewers. Megha, quite honestly, this 272 people remind me of Mahabharata. When Duryodhan, in his hunger for power, he kept committing sins after sins, but not single one of his other 99 brothers questioned him. Not because they believed he was right, but because they were hoping to receive something from his throne. This letter exactly feels the same. It reads less like the defense of democracy and more like 272 applications to the BJP's post-retirement employment bureau. These are some of the eminent citizens. I would like to remind them that before 2014, eminent citizens, eminent voices used to question the government, not the opposition. This so-called eminent citizens never spoke when the constitution was under assault, never speak when the electoral rules are manipulated, never speak when Dalits, OBCs, Adivasis, and minorities are targeted across the country. They never speak when the election commission behaves like the political extension of the ruling party. But suddenly and magically, they have found their voice and their spine only to defend the EC and Gyanesh Kumar Gupta, and only to attack leader of opposition. Institutions deserves respect, yes, but they do not deserve the blind worship. Democracy thrives and survives when the institutions face questions, scrutiny, and they are asked to be accountable. So let me ask this 272
Okay.
so-called guardians of democracy, that when was their when where was their conscience when Mahmood Pracha versus a state election commission case, Punjab and Haryana High Court issued the notice to Election Commission saying that please hand over CCTV footage. Within 48 hours, they amend the Rule 93 and they block the access to the CCTV footage and delete the CCTV footage within 7 days. Is that not Election Commission running away from the accountability? The ambassador before me at the start of the show, she spoke about infiltrators in from Bangladesh coming to Bengal and all of that. She exposed the incompetence of the Union Home Minister in saying that, because how are they able to cross the boundary and acquire Indian documents? The Union Home Ministry must answer that. And Aadhaar
But
and
let's
the
also
election
let's
cards,
also let's
if
also
it's
it's a universal phenomenon, whether countries may like it or not, whether it's America or for that matter United Kingdom or for that matter Spain or Italy. We have seen infiltration happen, illegal immigrants, and there have, of course, there are rules and regulations in place, but there is illegal infiltration, and then post facto action is taken, as is being seen in United States of
yes,
America
Megha. Yes,
as well
Megha.
right now.
Thank you.
But my question over
Thank
here is,
no.
there's a large public perception which is talking about how the Congress seems to be hiding behind the accusation of vote theft and a faulty SIR because of its poor performance in the elections. You are talking particularly about how the Dalits, the unemployed, the underprivileged, the backward classes are being shortchanged by the political party, and seems like in your case, in your argument, they are being and the political party in which is ruling is being backed by the election commission. But where are these Dalits and the backward classes and the underprivileged who were supposed to vote for the Congress but did not in Bihar elections?
Mega, so I was listening to both my co-panelists very patiently and uninterrupted. I hope you will extend the same courtesy to me. And I'm glad that you reminded me about the post-facto actions. And yes, this infiltration happens across all the countries. But one of those actions also include, if you remember, Spain and Italy, their interior ministers were made to step down because they failed to control the influx of infiltration. So here, instead of questioning the government and the Union Home Minister on the infiltration, it is like the opposition is being questioned. Number one. So as far as the SIR is concerned, let me give you two simple examples. In the number itself, they said that X number of the new applicants have filled out the form. But 4.8 lakh more people were added as new voters. So, where are their application forms? We have asked the election commissions. The eminent citizens of the country, activists of the country, have asked the election commissions to put those 4.8 lakh forms on record. Election commission so far has failed to do that. So is that not a threat to the transparency? Let me also give you second example. The women were sent 10,000 rupees during polls. after the MCC was in the place. Is that not the blatant violation of the model code of conduct? In all other states, all of other opposition ruling states, let me remind you, 2018, 2022 Rajasthan, they were made to stop giving that free iPhone, the free smartphone that Congress government had promised. In the case of Telangana, the Raitu Bandhu, which was the cash transfer directly to the farmers, that was stopped by the election commission. So why does election commission have different yardstick when it comes to a NDA ruling state and the opposition ruling state? And some of these signatories, they are eminent, they are eminent ambassadors. Why do they not speak about the failures of the foreign policy? Some of these signatories are the eminent police officers. Why do they not speak about the law and order issue? Some of them are the raw chief and intelligence officials. Why did they not speak on the bombings and the security lapse or the intelligence failure? But
Okay.
magically, all of them speak in one voice to protect Gyanesh Kumar Gupta and Election Commission.
Okay.
That's not independence, that's orchestration.
Okay. Advocate Manaswi Thapar is also on the show with us. And Advocate Thapar, talking about, I am again going to focus on Bihar elections. We're talking about SIR. We're talking about how there has been much debate between the Election Commission and the BJP and the Congress about vote theft and counter allegations that have been made. Does it look like the Congress is not owning up to its defeat? Instead of introspection, it is targeting democratic institutions. It is blaming the BJP for its loss.
Thank you, Megha, for asking me this question. I think election आएंगे जाएंगे पर ये देश जीतना चाहिए, and I feel asking questions is not anti-national. Asking question is not anti-institution. It is on the contrary pro-institution. Let's be very clear. Election Commission is a constitutional pillar and must be respected. It goes without saying. But respect does not mean it has to be silenced. Genuine evidence-based questioning is not an attack on the Constitution. It is the duty of each citizen, and LOP is asking that question, and that has to be answered by those who are in power. Now, coming back to what the issue of Rahul Gandhi is, Rahul Gandhi is asking questions. If now is the stage, he has lost election, people are not buying his counters, votes are not coming Congress's way, he has to file an affidavit, he has to file a formal complaint now with all the evidences which he has to go to the court, go file a relevant complaint and move ahead. If the evidences are correct, that's one part of the understanding on the SIR issue is. And let's also talk on the SIR issue moving forward. The entire momentum on duplication, deletion of electoral roll only came out only after Rahul Gandhi made this an issue publicly. Only after that, Election Commission got that understanding that we have to act on this particular front, and this became a mudda for everyone to understand, and this became a political mudda. But this did not convert into votes, and somehow did not work out in the Congress's way. Now these entire 272 eminent citizens were not there when issues were raised in terms of vote theft. They were not talking about the selectivity, the partiality of the election commission. Respecting the election commission is one part of it, but duplication, deletion, discriminations, when were highlighted, are not being talked about. Entire electoral roll should be audited by independent agencies. What is stopping the election commission to bring everything in open? Why don't they bring out the entire roll in open and put it on the website? TN Session had done it in the past. Why can't the present election commissioner can do that? That is not happening, and people are in entire proprietary to ask questions. We are a democracy. In a democracy, when duplication happens, we have a right to ask questions to election commission. When deletion, selective deletion, caste-based deletion is happening, we have a right to ask our election commissioner, because election commissioner is of our country, not
So
of a political party.
why do you
And
think the public, why do you think the citizens of the country are not buying into this argument somehow?
it is not the duty of the citizens to be in the political domain 24 into 7. That's why we have political parties who are into discussions of what is in the interest
Yeah,
of our
but then
country.
it should have been also reflective in the results, in the election results in
Maybe
Bihar.
not. Maybe not. People may not like Congress. People may vote out Congress for the next 100 years. That is not important. But does that allow election commission to delete people from their right to vote? Does that allow people to
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The
duplication?
election commission is time and again come out and ask the Congress, please file a complaint, please give us credible proof, please come out with concrete evidences to substantiate your claim, substantiate your argument that these things have happened, that there are these many people whose electoral rolls have been deleted while they were still existent, while they were in Bihar, while they are residents of Bihar. So that's the question that has arisen. In fact, the Supreme Court, I'm going to once again repeat, 11th of November is when the last hearing happened. It has said that yes, the electoral rolls have been present, the revision exercises are conducted, it is written in the constitution. Yes, if there are some discrepancies, modifications can be made, as was made previously a few months ago, especially with the inclusion of Aadhaar card as a document that can be accepted by the election commission while the enumeration forms are filled by the people, by the citizens. But that does not mean that you are going to completely cast aside election commission as a faulty body that does not function.
You are right on that point when you say you should not point fingers on election commission, but also election commission is duty bound to publish the entire data. Publish the entire data, booth wise, form wise, SIR wise data, machine readable forms should be put out in open. Why do you want to have that all these audits in silence? Why don't you put it in complete transparency? Why don't you publish it out? If Rahul Gandhi is making a statement that may be completely false, let me go with that understanding that all those claims made by Rahul Gandhi are completely false. Then why don't the election commission publish all the data in on its website? Why don't they publish that data? Let the independent audits take place, and then दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो जाएगा. We'll come to know, is Rahul Gandhi lying or not? For example, election commission comes on a day, publishes the entire electoral roll on websites. There would be independent audits which will happen, and it will completely be against Rahul Gandhi if everything, the data is perfect. If there are duplicate votes, if there are wrongful deletions, which are that will also come in light. But that is not happening. I am not saying that Rahul Gandhi not coming out with a formal complaint or not filing an affidavit is right. I think now is the very much time for him to do that. But if he's not doing it, that's an independent decision. But this entire debate on electoral roll is happening because there is a person named Rahul Gandhi who pointed it out to our country, and everyone is debating on this
the
thing.
owners of the owners of if you're making a claim and you're going to court, you need to provide evidence for the courts to make a decision in your favor. But again, like I said, there have been press conferences held. He's gone about putting full plasma screens and showing that Brazilian model and all that entire dramatization of events happened.
Allow me.
But then at the end of the day, what concrete measure has been taken? I mean, has a complaint been raised? Has the evidence been handed over to the authorities for them to make a fair decision on what actually has happened on the ground?
Megha, now there is a very simple answer to this. For example, if Rahul Gandhi is fooling the entire nation, having press conferences without any proofs, let election commission file a FIR against Rahul Gandhi for misleading the entire narrative of this country. If there is no vote chori, if there is no atom bomb thrown by Rahul Gandhi or election commission, why don't election commission file a police complaint against Rahul Gandhi? Because he's misleading you, me, all of us. We are being misled by him. We are debating. We are giving our prime time on Rahul Gandhi's debate. If he's not giving us facts, he's misleading the nation. And that is anti-national.
Like I said, I'm not blaming Rahul Gandhi. Neither am I blaming the election commission. But there has to be some conclusion that has to be drawn. And I think this debate is going to, further escalate as weeks pass, because there is an SIR that is being conducted in 12 states now, including those states where elections are going to take place in 2026. We'll keep a close eye on those developments. I'm out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the show, and on that note, I slip into a short break. Thanks for watching.